Imagine this. Emma, a successful woman in her 30s, pulls up every morning to her $60,000 luxury SUV. She's got the designer handbags, the latest tech gadgets, and an Instagram feed that screams perfect life. Her colleagues think she's thriving, and her social media is full of exotic vacations, dinners at fancy restaurants, and spontaneous getaways to the best resorts. But there's a catch. Behind the facade, Emma's checking her bank balance every day, making sure she has enough to cover her bills. On the other hand, there's Rachel. She also makes $85,000 a year, lives in the same city, and is around the same age as Emma. But Rachel drives a modest 2017 Honda Civic. Her apartment isn't in a trendy neighborhood, but it's comfortable. She doesn't post selfies from expensive dinners or tropical beaches. She doesn't look rich. She's quietly building wealth. And here's the kicker. Rachel's sitting on $250,000 in investments and has zero credit card debt. Two women, same salary, but radically different lifestyles. Why is one drowning in debt while the other is silently securing her financial future? You won't believe the hidden costs of trying to look successful. Stick around because we're about to dive into the financial mistakes that may be keeping you stuck, no matter how much you're earning. Let's start by taking a closer look at Emma. On the outside, it's easy to assume she's doing well. After all, she drives a brand new SUV, wears high-end fashion, and dines out at the trendiest spots. But when you dig deeper, her financial picture is far from glamorous. Emma's monthly car payment alone is $750. $750 for a car that looks amazing, but that's a hefty chunk of her salary going towards something that won't help her build wealth. On top of that, she's paying $200 a month for car insurance, which is high because newer cars are more expensive to insure. Gas? That's another $250 every month for the SUV's less than efficient fuel consumption. If you add in her rent for an apartment in a fashionable area, that's $2,200 a month, definitely higher than what she'd pay if she chose a less trendy neighborhood. Her utilities, phone bill, and internet run her about $400 every month, and groceries for Emma's taste, they cost around $500 per month. Dining out is a big expense for Emma, too. She's often meeting friends or colleagues at upscale restaurants, and the monthly total comes to about $1,000. These aren't just meals. These are social events where she's trying to keep up appearances. It's not about the food. It's about the image she projects. On top of that, Emma subscribes to several services, streaming platforms, a pricey gym membership she rarely uses, and even a beauty subscription box, all totaling around $150 per month. And then, let's not forget Emma's credit card debt. She carries $12,000 in credit balances, with interest rates averaging 18%. Every month, she's barely making the minimum payment, paying off just the interest and leaving the balance to grow. She feels trapped. She has the high-paying job, the designer items, and all the outward signs of success, but in reality, she's living paycheck to paycheck. If anything unexpected happens, like a medical emergency or car repair, she would be in serious trouble. Now, let's look at Rachel. She also makes $85,000 a year, but her lifestyle is drastically different. Rachel drives a 2017 Honda Civic, reliable, economical, and paid off. Her monthly insurance is only $100, and because her car is incredibly fuel efficient, she spends just $150 a month on gas. She could easily afford a more expensive car, but Rachel isn't interested in looking rich. She's more focused on her future. Instead of living in an expensive neighborhood with sky-high rent, Rachel lives in a quieter area where the rent is only $1,200. It's not glamorous, but it's safe, comfortable, and within her budget. Her utilities and other monthly bills come to around $350. When it comes to groceries, Rachel shops smart. She buys store-brand items, doesn't waste money on luxury food, and spends about $350 per month. It's not that she doesn't enjoy food, she just doesn't feel the need to overspend to prove anything to anyone. Rachel doesn't eat out as much as Emma does. She occasionally enjoys a meal at a mid-range restaurant, but she doesn't go to fancy places just to impress others. Her dining out budget is about $400 per month, a fraction of Emma's total. She values experiences over appearances, so she often opts for simple activities like hiking or picnics with friends, enjoying life without spending excessively. While Emma's subscription boxes and gym memberships are costing her money without providing much value, Rachel is mindful of her expenses. She only subscribes to services that are necessary, and her total is less than $100 per month. But the biggest difference between Emma and Rachel isn't just the money they spend, it's how they invested. While Emma is barely scraping by, Rachel is building her wealth. She invests around $1,500 every month into a low-cost index fund, something that grows steadily over time. Over the years, this investment will compound, helping her build a solid financial foundation for the future. Now, let's break down exactly what happens when Rachel's consistent habits meet the power of compound interest. While Emma continues to splurge on things that won't help her in the long run, Rachel's strategy is simple and methodical. The numbers may seem ordinary at first, but over time, they tell an incredible story. Rachel's monthly $1,500 contribution to her index fund is invested in a diverse portfolio, which historically has provided an average return of about 8% per year. That may not sound like much, but compound interest is a powerful force, and it's working for Rachel 24/7. In 10 years, Rachel's $1,500 per month will grow to over $240,000. That's a small fortune built on steady, predictable growth. But it gets even better. After 20 years, that $1,500 monthly investment will have grown to $800,000. By the time Rachel is in her 50s, that number could easily cross the $2 million mark, assuming she maintains this consistent saving and investing strategy. And all of this will happen without her making any major lifestyle sacrifices. She's not going without, she's just not choosing the flashy options that don't add long-term value. On the flip side, Emma's story looks different. Despite her higher-paying job and her luxury lifestyle, she's sinking deeper into debt. Her car payment alone costs her $750 every month, which could have gone towards building her own wealth. The same $750, if invested, would have added up to over $100,000 in just 10 years at an average market return. That's money she could have used to build her own financial freedom, but instead, it's going to an asset that loses value every year. Emma's eating out habits also add up over time. Let's say she spends an average of $1,000 per month on dining at restaurants. That's $12,000 per year, money that could have been saved or invested. Over 10 years, this amount could easily total $120,000, enough to buy her a house or invest in assets that actually appreciate in value. But here's the key. While Rachel has been building assets, Emma has been building liabilities. The $12,000 she spends annually on eating out, the $9,000 per year on her car, the endless designer bags, all of this is leading her down a path of financial stress. It's the status tax, the extra money she spends to project an image of success, but that doesn't actually improve her financial standing. And the most dangerous part? It's not just about the money. It's about the psychological trap Emma has fallen into. She's been conditioned to equate success with appearances, to equate happiness with what she owns. But deep down, Emma's financial situation is precarious. She's one unexpected expense away from disaster. Rachel, on the other hand, isn't just buying things. She's buying her freedom. Freedom from the constant pressure to keep up, and the freedom to make choices that align with her values, not what society expects. As the years go by, Rachel's strategy of financial discipline and smart investing starts to pay off in ways that are almost invisible at first, but soon the results become undeniable. While Emma's debt continues to pile up, Rachel's portfolio grows exponentially. By her mid-40s, Rachel finds herself in a very different position than Emma. Let's imagine Rachel at 45. She's accumulated nearly $1.5 million through her consistent contributions and the power of compounding. She's free to live life on her own terms, traveling when she wants, taking time off work without the fear of financial ruin, and even pursuing hobbies and passions without worrying about her next paycheck. The freedom she enjoys is the direct result of the sacrifices she made earlier, opting for modest living while focusing on wealth building. On the other hand, Emma is still dealing with the consequences of her choices. By now, her car has depreciated significantly, but she's still making hefty payments on it. She's paid thousands of dollars in interest on her credit card debt, and her rent continues to climb as she moves into more expensive apartments to maintain the illusion of success. Emma might have the appearance of a successful person, but she's caught in a cycle of debt and materialism she can't escape. And here's the crushing reality. Emma's financial freedom, if it ever comes, will require significant changes. At the age of 45, if Emma suddenly stopped spending on status symbols, she could begin to catch up. But because she spent so much of her income on depreciating assets, like that luxury car and those fancy dinners, she has very little saved or invested. Her wealth-building years are already behind her, and she's going to have to work twice as hard to make up for lost time. Rachel, by contrast, is already on the path to financial independence. She's close to the point where her investments are generating enough passive income that she could choose to stop working altogether if she wanted. But even more powerful than the money is the peace of mind that comes with it. Rachel doesn't live in constant fear of an unexpected expense or the next bill. She knows she's secure. While Emma spends her weekends worried about where the money will come from to pay her credit card bill, Rachel is out exploring new hobbies, spending time with family, or taking a day off to relax, because she has the luxury of time and choice. But what's even more remarkable about Rachel's story is how she's done it without any external validation. She doesn't care about the judgments of others. Unlike Emma, who's constantly worried about what people think of her car or her social media presence, Rachel's focus is on the long-term goal. She understands that true wealth doesn't come from how people see you in the moment. It's about securing your financial future for the years ahead. Emma, on the other hand, is constantly performing for an audience that barely notices or cares. This is the key to understanding why status-driven spending is so destructive. Most of the time, the people Emma is trying to impress are far more focused on their own lives than they are on hers. The car, the designer bags, the fancy dinners, they're all signals that no one is really paying attention to, yet Emma keeps paying for them because she thinks they'll make her appear more successful. But here's the harsh truth. The more Emma spends to signal success, the more she erodes her ability to actually achieve it. So, what does this all mean for you? If you're reading this, it's likely because you've experienced some of the same pressures that Emma faces. Maybe you felt the pull of wanting to look successful, wanting to keep up with the people around you, whether it's through the car you drive, the house you live in, or the vacations you take. But here's the most important point to take away from Rachel and Emma's stories. True wealth is not about appearances, it's about freedom. Rachel didn't choose the path she took because she wanted to be better than anyone else. She made conscious decisions every day to live below her means, to invest wisely, and to resist the temptation of chasing instant gratification. She made a choice to look beyond the flashy, status-driven lifestyle and focus on what really matters, building a secure, stable future. And now, Rachel is reaping the rewards of those choices, not just in terms of financial wealth, but in the ultimate luxury: freedom. Freedom to wake up without worrying about bills. Freedom to make choices based on what she truly wants, not what others expect of her. Freedom to enjoy life without feeling the need to constantly perform. That is the true meaning of success. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you keep feeding into the cycle of status consumption, spending to show off or to fit in, you're robbing yourself of that very freedom. Every time you buy something you don't need just to appear wealthy, you're pushing back the day you'll truly be able to stop working, take control of your life, and live with peace of mind. Every car payment, every luxury handbag, every overpriced dinner, these are votes for staying stuck in a cycle of debt and financial stress. And once you realize this, the discomfort of letting go can feel like a loss of identity. But trust me, it's not. When you let go of the need to perform for others, you get to live for yourself. You get to write your own story. You get to be the person who isn't trapped by the expectations of society, but free to live on your own terms. And yes, at first, it might feel strange. Maybe you'll feel like you're giving up something, like a piece of who you are. But in reality, you're gaining everything that matters: financial security, freedom, peace of mind, and the ability to focus on what's truly important to you. It's easy to feel like everyone's watching, like everyone cares about what car you drive or what clothes you wear. But as studies show, most people are too caught up in their own lives to notice. And those who do notice, they're probably just like Emma, more concerned with how they look than with how you're doing financially. The people who matter most are those who value you for who you truly are, not for the car you drive or the brand of your clothes. So, take a moment to ask yourself, are you living for yourself or are you living for the approval of others? And if you're living for others, is it really worth it? It's time to stop feeding the loop of status-driven spending. You don't need to impress anyone with your possessions. You just need to impress yourself with your ability to take control of your future. The freedom you'll gain in the process is worth far more than any luxury item you could ever buy. In the end, it's the quiet ones, the ones who aren't chasing after the latest trends, the ones who aren't trying to keep up with the Joneses, who end up winning. Rachel's $1.5 million portfolio is quietly compounding, while Emma is stuck with debt and the fear of never getting ahead. Who would you rather be? Real wealth isn't about the stuff you own, it's about the freedom you create for yourself.